Hello, I want to take a look at a couple of problems in lesson 6.3 practice. I have my iPad showing the screen, which is helpful. On some of these problems I can do better drawing than others. In fact, you'll see on one of the problems that I'm going to draw by hand because I can't get it to work on the iPad. However, function f is shown on the graph provided. Function g is a transformation of f as shown below. G of x equals f of x. But we have to know what plus 5 outside the function does to the function. Well, adding something to a function is the first transformation that we looked at on a previous video. And plus means that we're going to move our graph up 5 spaces. So we can start here at -4, and then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to put a point here at 1 on the y-axis. If we take our x-intercept over here at 2, 3, 4, 5, we can put a point in there, and then we can draw a line through those 2 points. And that's the answer to that particular problem. Similar question here on number 3. It's the graph of f of x equals x is shown on the coordinate plane. Function g is a transformation of f as shown below. G of x equals f of x minus 5, the quantity of x minus 5. And again, it is a similar problem, but what we need to know is what happens to hand, but it's same picture. This is the graph of f of x equals x. By the way, f of x is the same thing as y, if you prefer. And what's going to happen is, again, we are figuring out, well, what does f of x minus 5 mean? Well, f of x minus 5 means that we're going to move our graph right 5 spaces. Everything else stays the same. We're just moving it 5. So even though you can't see any points on the line, you can see some points on my line, the given line on the program. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to count right 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can do that with all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what happens is we're going to be creating a parallel line. And I did find my ruler here. I particularly struggled on drawing this in on the iPad. So maybe that's what the trouble is for yours. But there's the answer to that particular function. So I'm pulling my iPad back up. Going to our next question. And again, it's knowing the transformations. So what I can recommend to you is that you can go back and copy down that chart that I made in the transformations video, and then you've got it right beside you when you're to you. But the same type of problem here. It says the graph of f of x equals x is shown on the coordinate plane. Function g is a transformation of f as shown below. And g of x equals 3, 4. So what's going to happen with this graph then is we need to know that the 3/4 outside of the function is going to change the slope of this graph. Technically, 3/4 in front of the function means that it's going to be a vertical stretch or compression. Because 3/4 is less than 1, it's compression. But all that we need to do is we need to change our slope on this graph. And I'm going to start by putting a point 0, and then slope. Slope is rise over run. So we're going to rise 3. So I'm counting from the red dot. 1, 2, 3 up, and 1, 2, 3, 4 right. And then I'm going to try to draw my line through that. And there's our picture. Very similar on the next problem, the last one I'm going to do on this video. So if we take a look at this one, what happens is it says use the drawing tools to form the correct answer on the provided graph. The graph of f of x equals x is shown on the coordinate plane. Function g is a transformation of, and actually two things are happening to this graph because there's a negative. It says g of x equals f parentheses negative 2/3 x. That's read, by the way, f of negative 2/3 x. The negative, it is a reflection over the y-axis because it's inside the function, and changes the graph horizontally, and it changes it. It is a horizontal stretch because 2/3 is less than 1. But ultimately what has to happen on this graph once again is when we draw it in, we're going to use that negative 2/3 x as the slope. So I'm going to start with my point on 0, and then I'm going to make my slope. Slope being rise over run, down 2, 1, and to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. I'll put a point there, and then we can draw our line through those two values. I missed it, but you get the idea. I don't want to prolong the video, but that one more time I'll try. Here. Nope, didn't like that. Line. There we go. And I got it. Again, negative reflects over the y. The 2/3 is a horizontal stretch.